Hey everyone! So I bought some fabric the other day at Hobby Lobby and I was about to dye it and I figured I could go ahead and record and share my process with you guys. I know there's a few ways to do it, so I figured I'd share what I do. So I have 28 count even weave. It's white, 30 by 36. You're gonna need a bowl that fits the fabric. I also laid down like painter's paper, I guess. I'm not sure what it's called, just to make sure I don't ruin the counters. You're gonna need some gloves, the dye of your choice. I like the liquid over the powder, so I'm gonna be using royal blue today. And then just some parchment paper on a baking sheet here because I'm gonna be baking it. A container that will fit your fabric kind of tightly, and you'll see why in a bit. Some tongs or what else can you use? Don't use your hands because it burns because you're also going to need hot water. So I usually use tongs. So alrighty, so the first thing that I'm going to do is put some warm water in here. Let's see here. And it's a little too hot, but it's fine because I need a little more water in there. So give me 1 second. Okay, so let's add a little more. And I think that should be pretty good. So now it's not so hot. Let's see. You just want it warm. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so what you want to do is add in some of your dye. So I'm going to go ahead and shake this. I'm sorry if the camera's shaking. I'm trying to do this with one hand. So I usually never read the instructions on anything. I'm just going to pour in a little bit and kind of use the tongs to just give that a stir. And what I like to do is get like a paper plate or something. And I get a straw. So just to see how the color is looking. So I'll just get a little bit, put it on here, and that's kind of light. That's kind of how I want it actually. So I'll add more a little later, I think, but for now I'm gonna go ahead and go with that. So all you want to do is put your fabric in there, and this is where I use the tongs to kind of press it down in there. You don't want to use like a fork because you could mess up your fabric, so I try to gently push this down in there. And if it's sticking up a little bit, it's fine. You could come change it every once in a while. And remember that when you bake this, the color fades a lot. It's not as vibrant, so that's why I like to do the first dip this way, then I'll add more dye in a bit, and you'll see what I do next. But I'm pretty much just gonna leave it in here for about 20 minutes and then I'll be back. Okay, so it has been about 20 minutes now. It's looking good. So this is kind of like, I would consider it like the base coat. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put on some gloves, which I probably should have done before I started filming. I think I'm gonna get my husband to help me. Give me 1 second. Okay, so I put on some gloves and I'm just rinsing the fabric right now, just until the color starts coming out. When the water starts running clear, that's when you know you're done. So that's pretty much it. Okay, now that I've rinsed it, what I want to do is put it into this container, but I need to scrunch it up first to where you don't want to just scrunch it, you know, you have to be a little strategic. So you just start like pulling it inward from all directions. Try to do it evenly until you have it all kind of scrunched in here. So kind of take your time and just, you don't want the edges like up like randomly. You want them kind of tucked in and down. I find that that gives the best modeling. So once you kind of have it more or less how you want it, you want to kind of take it, not take the parchment paper, and put it into your container. And then you want to kind of adjust it in here. So you want a container that's going to be kind of holds the fabric tight but not too tight. You want some wiggle room. And you see how like this is like bulging out right there? I want to make it a little more even, so I'm going to kind of mess with it until I have it how I want it. So that's pretty good, I would say. And no two pieces of fabric are ever going to be the same, so it is what it is. So what I'm going to do next is I want this to be darker. So I'm going to pour in some more and then use my tongs to kind of mix it. Okay. Take my straw again and then put it on the plate. And as you can see, this is a lot darker than the original. So this is kind of the base, and this is what I'm going to use for the modeling. So now we need a spoon, which give me a second. Let me go get it really quick. Okay, I'm back with my huge spoon that I have here. So I'm going to go ahead and just start kind of drizzling this over. In some areas you'll feel are more, they're harder because they're more compact with fabric. So those areas I tend to put a little more. There's no real science behind this. You just don't want to put too much to where it's sitting on the bottom, because if you let it sit in the bottom, the whole bottom part of the fabric will have that color, and so you don't want that. And so I don't know if you could already see, if you get a little close here, the white areas compared to like the darker areas. That's kind of what you want. And if you're doing different colors, you could go ahead and at this point put a different color in, or if you want a different color base, you can do that. I'm gonna look at the bottom, see, make sure it's not a lot. No, it's still good. So I could put a little bit more. And I think that's pretty good right there. Maybe just one more. Okay, so I'm going to let this sit for about 20 to 30 minutes, and I don't touch it. I kind of just let it do its thing, and then I'll be back. Okay, so it's been about half an hour. I'm going to take it out and rinse it now. I'm using like lukewarm water at first, and then I'll go just to cold at the end. So I just kind of move it around and just make sure that the water runs clear, and that's when I know that it's done. It's pretty much done. So now it's just cold water. I just want to make sure that I get everything out. All right, then you just wring everything out. Just want to try to wring it out as much as you can. I'm wringing it out, but I'm not, you don't want to be really, really rough, because then you don't want to mess up your fabric. Okay, now we have to go to the baking tray with the parchment paper. Okay, so now we have our parchment paper. So what we want to do now, and you could already get an idea, it's gonna come out lighter than this, but you could see the modeling already. So you want to do something similar to when we were first kind of scrunching it. This is kind of a big piece of fabric, so it's a little difficult to fit on this tray, but we're gonna make it work. I don't have a bigger tray, so we're just gonna make it work. The areas that are popping up are the ones that are gonna get more of the modeling, because we're gonna bake it. It's gonna kind of, I guess, burn a little in a sense. So again, these edges, I want to get them down. And just however, I mean, like I said, there's no science behind it. This is just what I do, and I usually get pretty good results. And halfway through, you can move it around if you like. I kind of just leave it in there. Okay, so I'm gonna put this into the oven. I already have it set to 300 degrees, and I'll put it in there for half an hour. Hey guys, so it's the next day, and this thing has dried, and I ironed it just a little bit just to be able to show you. It's hard to get the true color on camera, but I think that's pretty close right there. I don't know if you could tell all the modeling that's on there. It came out pretty light. It always comes out lighter, and I think I like it though. I could use it for a piece that has a lot of like water or clouds or something with a little bit of the modeling. Trying to get the best. This is about a little more true to color here. It's a little more blue in person. I'll try to take a picture and insert it as well. But if it's too light for your liking, you could always repeat the entire process. You could even repeat the process and do a different color to change it up a little bit, to mix in a few different colors. I've done it before where I did it pretty similar to the way I did it, and then I repeated the process with gray, and that came out really good as well. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and let me know if you have any questions below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.